So I wanted to make this video for people just getting into speedrunning. Maybe you're not really sure what your first game should be, or you're someone who has been doing speedruns for a while and you're kind of just looking for something new, something fresh, and just another game to learn. I'm gonna give you 5 games that I think are pretty accessible and easy speedruns to learn. So let's get into it. Before I begin, just want to say, go ahead and like this video. It really helps getting the channel discovered. I'm really trying to grow this as much as possible, so if you can, I really appreciate it. Also, be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you know whenever I make new videos. Also, I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/tboy07. I'm streaming every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday evenings as of right now, so come on by, follow the channel, and feel free to hang out. So before I get into the actual specific games, I do just want to make a point in saying games you should be looking for are games that you either currently own or games that you have played in the past and have enjoyed. Because remember, if you're speedrunning this, you're going to be spending hours at a time grinding these games. It needs to be something that you actually enjoy playing. So first and foremost, that should be something on your mind. So the ones that I'm going to suggest are games that are relatively easy to learn and also fairly short in how long it takes you to do the speed run. And they'll range from like under 30 minutes all the way to around an hour or hour and 20 minutes if you're decent at it. And the first game that I'm going to suggest is Portal, particularly the glitchless category of Portal. It's relatively short, fairly easy to learn, and you don't need a super powerful computer to play it. You'd be able to play it relatively okay on like an Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3. And if you have a somewhat capable gaming computer or laptop, you should be able to run this game fairly easily. And specifically the glitchless category, you should be able to get runs that only take you about 30 minutes or so, just starting out, and eventually you'll be able to grind that down to like under 20 minutes. So again, relatively short run, good if you're just starting out. Now the next game I'm going to suggest is a game you may not be entirely familiar with if you're not super involved in the speedrunning community, and that's a game called Refund. It's a small platformer type game where basically your goal is to activate these pressure plates that reveal the entirety of the map, and that's how you win the game. Again, same thing as Portal. It's relatively short, it's easy to learn, and there have been tons of people who have done runs of this, so you'll be able to join discords and talk with other runners to try to really figure out how to properly go about learning this run. And you can get this game on PC, Xbox One, PS4, and Nintendo Switch. Now the next 2 games I'm going to talk about are actually Nintendo Switch exclusives, but the reason I'm bringing them up is because I think a lot of people who do speedruns probably own a Nintendo Switch or some sort of Nintendo product because they tend to be pretty popular with speedrunners. And the first one I'm going to talk about is Super Mario Odyssey. If you have a Nintendo Switch, you very, very likely have Super Mario Odyssey. It's a super fun speed run. Again, pretty much all the Mario games are. So if you don't have Odyssey, but you have another Mario game, I would highly suggest trying one of those out. But specifically regards to Odyssey, the movement is so much fun. Nintendo did a great job of just making it very intuitive to move around the world. The route is not super difficult to learn because you're just gathering the moons in each subsequent world. And on top of that, if you're looking for a game that has a very high skill ceiling, Odyssey definitely fulfills that role, because you can get into it fairly easily without knowing a lot of the crazy tricks. But if you really want to delve into it, Odyssey has layers upon layers of tech and tricks that you can learn over time. And now the 4th game I'm going to talk about is another Nintendo exclusive, and I'll talk about just the general intellectual property overall, and that one is Splatoon. Now I will admit my bias. Splatoon was my first speedrun, but there's a reason for that. It's very easy to learn. There's not a whole lot that you really have to learn with the run. It's pretty much just learning the route of the overworld, and from there, each level, you're doing one main objective and it tells you what to do right from the beginning. So you're just going through it as fast as possible. It's really simple from that point. If you have a Wii U, I would highly suggest trying out Splatoon as a speedrun. It's really easy to learn. The run only takes you about an hour for any percent, and the movement and the way you play the game is actually really fun for a speed run. If you do have a Nintendo Switch, I would suggest doing Splatoon 2. It's still pretty easy to learn whether you do the actual hero mode story or the Octo Expansion DLC. Both of them are great choices. Now the last game I'm going to suggest is an indie game that I think a lot of people have played and really enjoyed, and that game is Shovel Knight. Similar to the first two games we talked about with Portal and Refund, Shovel Knight is a relatively short run and pretty straightforward of what you have to do. You have levels you have to complete, you go through the levels, you beat the bosses, that's pretty much it. But the reason I really wanted to include it is because there's so much you can do with this run. There are so many DLCs that have come out for Shovel Knight for free, might I add. Yacht Games has just released them for free, which is amazing. You're going through about the same overworld with just slightly different characters, but the runs are still relatively the same. So you'll be able to have tons of different experiences just with this one pretty cheap game if you don't already have it. And not to mention the soundtrack for the game is phenomenal. So while you're running, you'll at least have some good bangers going on inside your ears. So yeah, if you're looking for just your first speed game, or you're looking for something new, these are 5 good games that I would recommend looking at, see if you want to learn them, and giving them a try as a speedrun. So again, just want to remind you, I stream on Twitch, links will be down below, and I'll see y'all later.